Yo, welcome to the Pink Room, where yes, we, just talk about shit. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't too sure about how I was gonna start this series off. I think I was gonna talk about, some gaming stuff because I like to game and all that. But I was like, let me talk about something more like in reality, something more relatable, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, can we talk about big women? Can we talk about plus size women? This is a topic that's it's not as controversial as it was like years ago. It still kind of is, because there's a lot of fat slander out there for some good reason, some not. But I know me, and me personally, I love my big women. I even call myself a thick enthusiast. For those of you who don't know, which is all of you, you will not know, I am an artist, quote unquote. I haven't drawn for any of my channels, but the art that I like to do is just drawing big people, specifically big women, because let me be honest, I'm attracted to them. What can I say? I'm sorry. Now, at this point in my life, I don't feel shame for liking big women. You're attracted to what you're attracted to, right? And it's not inherently a bad thing, but there's a lot of stigma towards plus size women, plus size people in general. I'm specifically talking about like in public. Behind closed doors, niggas be fucking with big women. Niggas be, it's not even like, we about to get in that in a minute. Basically, nowadays, if you say like you like plus size women, people aren't really gonna look at you weird. Like, they're just gonna be like, oh, okay, that's what you like. You like them big, bro. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But back then, niggas would have thought you were weird, bro. But basically, I'm just saying all this to just start the video, just basically talking about why people like plus size women. As someone who indeed likes plus size women, I feel like I'm in the criteria to talk about this. And there are some people out there who genuinely don't understand. There's people genuinely who just hate on big women because they're bigger, and just, the whole unhealthy, like promoting unhealthy mindset shit, like all that. I'm about to talk about all that just now. But let's start with why the attraction. Now, there's a few reasons why people would be attracted to bigger, more curvaceous women, and that would be like just the concept of curves in general. This point I can relate with the most, because I think that I am just attracted to curves. Now, I ain't saying like I'll see like a fucking apple or some cylinder and be like, oh shit, that shit look kind of nah, I'm not gonna do that. It just means like specifically on humans, I feel like just the shape of them, like the really round shape, I don't know, it's just a force of attraction to me. I personally, I don't even know why. To get a better understanding of the concept of curves, I'm gonna give y'all a visual demo, if you will. So when someone tells you to think of like drawing like a regular, like standard curve, you'd think like just drawing something like this, right? Curves come in many forms. A curve could be like this. It could be more like this. It could be more like this. You're gonna have a steeper angle, be more smooth. I'm trying because I'm using a mouse for this. Basically, there are a lot of different types of curves. So I want you to think about this when looking at the human body. For reference, we're gonna use this example from an artist I follow on Instagram called Tierment. This is their OC, and she looks so good. We're gonna count the curves. And that's about like 20-ish curves, like 20, around 20, right? This is what measures the level of attraction we have to these type of women. And now watch when I remove the drawing. You basically get the silhouette. You basically get it. So this is what I'm saying. This is what we see. This is what we're attracted to. Here's another example of another artist I follow on Insta. Their name is Monroe. They're also a really good artist, really good rendering. Oh my god, I wish I could render like they can. But see, if we start to count the curves, I counted around 23 curves. Obviously, I didn't get all of them, but as you can see just by looking at the drawing, she is curve rich. And again, once we take out the drawing itself, look at that. Scrumptious. Obviously, there's a limit. Like, I feel like curves can get really outrageous and you'll end up looking like something that's not too attractive. Another point would be the more woman complex, meaning like vibe, your physical standing is just bigger than, you know, the average girl, like the average standard skinny girl. And for some men, that's attractive. And I agree, to be honest. Our third point, and probably the most popular point, is MILFs. I say this because when women go through pregnancy, you know, they're prone to gaining more weight. Usually when a woman has a baby, they're gonna gain more weight. And they usually most times they usually keep it. There are some women who actually are able to burn the fat, but most of the time they end up keeping it. That's why you see that's why you see when you get out of high school and then people you went to high school with end up becoming moms, they look bigger, they look more chunkier, like it's from the pregnancy. Now, another concept that is a little more underground, but is still really prevalent in this topic. For good or bad, I won't say yet, but it is very important, is the fat growth kink, or what most people call it, feedy. Now this is extremely controversial. Basically what this is men who are attracted to women who like to get themselves stuffed. And what I mean by that is basically they like seeing them eat a bunch of food and growing bigger. Like, that's attractive to them. I don't want to say too much on this yet, especially like my opinion on it, but I just want you to know that this is out there. So those are just kind of the points that came up like on top of my head. But now let's get into the bad and the ugly. This is basically talking about the negatives of plus size women, or the negatives that society have on plus size women. And the first one being the most common one, bad health. Whenever anyone talks down on a big person, whether you see it on the internet or even sometimes in public, will be about their health. Oh, you're this amount of weight. Oh, you're unhealthy. It means you're eating unhealthy. You're not working out. You're not exercising. You're this, that, and the third. They think they know everything about them just based on their weight. Okay, I will say that it is valid in some cases. Some people simply don't live healthy lives and end up becoming big and it becoming detrimental to their health. Like, literally, like either they can't walk or something in their body is disrupting because of their immense amount of weight. Like, these factors do come into play. But what people don't understand is that other factors come into play that don't relate to those factors. And this happens a lot in the medical field too, where when doctors diagnose a plus size person with something negative and just say, oh, it's because of your weight, you gotta lose the weight. And then sometimes they lose the weight and then they realize it wasn't really the weight, it was some other underlying issue. Basically, people like to blame being fat for a lot of the negative medical issues that you may have, which sometimes is just not true. And if you think doctors do that shit, what do you think normal niggas are gonna say about you? Niggas that don't even know their own medical history or don't live healthier lives than you. They could be skinny as fuck. They could be skinny and they'll tell you, oh, you unhealthy because you fat. They could be eating the same junk food, the same shit you do. Their metabolism might be just goated, but they eat the same amount of shit. They might even eat more than you, but they tell you that you unhealthy because you fat. That's called judging someone off of their physical appearance, and we don't do that around here. The next point to bring up will be what we just talked about before, Speedy. Now I could finally get my opinions out the way about this shit. I don't get it. I don't get it. I can get being attracted to someone who's like just big. Like even I have a limit. I understand that people can exceed my limit of attraction when it comes to bigger women, right? But I don't understand the kink of watching someone eat until they get big, like until they're bloated. I don't get that. Especially when you realize the negative health effects. I know I just talked about judging someone based on their physical appearance, right? But you're actively watching this person who's already big eat a bunch of junk food. Of course it's unhealthy. I would say the same shit if it was a skinny person. You're eating this heap of junk food for people to watch you eat and get a hard on. Like, I don't get it. Now, I do think this goes hand in hand with fat kink, which is something kind of different, but it kind of falls into the same ballpark where, like, you're just attracted to fat. Like, I think there might be like a threshold for it, like a limit, but basically you just like the girl because she's fat. This I understand, but I also understand that I don't have it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my plus size woman, but it's mainly a physical preference and not an end all be all, right? Like, I don't need my girl to be 400 pounds for me to be with them. Like I've seen like people on like 600 pound life, for instance, right? There was this one woman, I forget her name because like I don't really watch the shit like that, but I remember like there was this one woman off 600 pound life. It was either that or some type of hoarding show. She was a big woman either way, and she was dead ass, like she was pulling niggas, like she was having like boyfriends like every few months or so, and to me, I'm like, who's choosing to date you in the state that you're in? Like, I understand some people on those type of shows, they'll already have spouses that they've been with for a while, and their weight gain was just gradual throughout the years. Like, I understand that. But for a guy to come to you, see you in the state that you're in, like, you can barely walk. Barely. And they come to you and like, yeah, I'm fucking with you. I want to date you. I kind of don't understand it. My next point is basically the generalization of all of this, where this comes from, where plus size women get all this criticism from, and that would be society. There are a lot of struggles big women have to face, especially in society, whether that be how they're perceived, the clothing they have to get, or the clothing they have to find, rather. All the wrong shit that people get about them, judging them off their appearance. Like, they basically get no chance. I remember, like, growing up, and people always, like, whenever people talk to me about, like, you know, whether they can't pull women, so they go on, like, dating apps and shit, and they be like, oh, I just get a bunch of fat bitches. And it's like, damn. I mean, I get it. They not your type. Like, everyone has a type, obviously. But it's like, damn, they trying to get love like you are, dude. So since we're talking about societal judgment, I think it's good to talk about the misconceptions that society has when it comes to being big. The most popular one that I would hear all the time growing up is that, oh, you stink because you fat. Or you smell bad just because they're fat. Even as a kid, this one always seemed so weird to me, because like, just because you're big doesn't mean you smell. Like, obviously if you shower and you shower good, like you go through the routine, you go through the shit, you're not gonna smell bad regardless of what size you are. Obviously if you're big to a point where you have crevices you can't reach, then yes, you are gonna smell, and it is a result of you being too big. But like, if you like 200 to like 300, like if you shower, you're not gonna smell. Niggas think, oh, because niggas are skinny, they not gonna smell? No, if you don't wash your ass, you're gonna smell. Just like if a big person don't wash their ass, they ain't gonna smell. There's no difference. And I feel like that's the problem with society is sometimes in some situations, society likes to group people or treat people like a monolith, right? In this case, that is kind of the case because they treat fat people like a monolith. Like all fat people are this, all fat people are that. That is not true. The next misconception is how people get fat. Now, this is obviously tricky for people, right? Most people default to, oh, you eat a lot of shit. Like you just eat so much, right? So you become fat. And it's just so ignorant to think like that all the time. I know big people who eat less portions than some of the skinny niggas I know. So again, it doesn't always equal that. Some people are fat because they have disorders or maybe like bodily functions that either slow their metabolism or they gain fat just faster. And obviously the answer to avoid all these misconceptions is to just do research, right? Do either medical research or simply just stop judging people based on their physical appearance. I promise you it's not that hard. Now I want to get a little personal. Basically, I'm going to talk about where it all started for me. So this is actually kind of funny, right? So when I was a kid, right, I used to live with my uncle. Like obviously my parents were still around, but you know, I used to live with my uncle at a time. And I remember we had a basement and you know, the basement had a room, so I would sleep down there sometime. But there was this stash, right? Not really a stash. It was mainly like a shelf, right? And there were DVDs inside. So, you know, me being a kid, I'm curious as hell. I want to see what's in those cupboards. Even though my uncle told me, yo, don't touch nothing down there. Like that's his personal shit, right? But you know, he had his Xbox down there too. So sometimes I go to play his Xbox. What I'd play, I remember playing Shenmue. Unrelated. But anyways, right? So I went to check out those DVDs, right? Just to look at them. And one thing that's unique about these DVDs, which I don't know if they still do them today. They probably don't. This was like back in the day, like before like 2010, like early 2000s, right? These DVDs were white. Like not clear, but they were white. And they had like writing on them. I don't remember what they said, but they had like Sharpie writing on them. Basically like as a label. I think like maybe they said like volume 1 or something like that. Something along those lines. And I remember getting curious. So I took one of them and I put it in the DVD player. Or I think it was like a cassette and DVD player at the time. And I played that shit. And it was corn. It was corn. So, right. Me, I didn't register it as that in the moment, right? But it was that. And not only was it that, but it was BBW, right? And this is where it started. This is where it started. I was just sitting there looking at it. I didn't know what was happening, mind you. I didn't know what was going on. Because it was like it obviously had like a little storyline, right? You know how sometimes corn be having storylines and shit. But I didn't know what was happening. But when it started happening, you know, I started figuring things out about myself, you know what I'm saying? Like physically. I didn't do anything, but I did notice some abnormalities. So I think it's from that moment on that kind of solidified my attraction. No, not solidified, started, my fault. It didn't solidify yet. Like I didn't know what I was attracted to at that point. I did notice when it started to leak into like my personal life, when like I started going to school. Well, I was always in school, but I started like I went to a different school because we had moved out of my uncle's house. So I went to a different school, and I obviously I didn't know at the time, but I started having crushes on mainly the big girls in my class, or in any other class. I noticed that I wouldn't say it like outright, because and at this point in my life I was an outcast, so like I had barely any friends. I probably had like one or two friends that like I can trust. But yeah, I didn't really realize it, right, when I was like back then. But as I got out of elementary school into middle school, that's when I started to like really pick up like, oh, I like them chunky. Like I like them big. And it started in 6th grade, where it was a semi-popular girl, and she was a big girl. Honestly, she was really cute, I guess, at the time. Like, it's kind of hard to like think back, but like she was really pretty. Like, she had a face card and everything. She, like, her weight didn't mean shit. She was still gorgeous as fuck. I remember I had a big crush on her, but I never said anything. But that was like my first like when I started thinking to myself like, wow, I really do, I like her because she looks pretty, but it's also because she's big. Like, she's a plus size girl. Like, whoa, hold on, we unlocking shit. When I realized that, I swear, like, you could see the achievement box pop up on the screen when when I realized that shit. I was like, oh shit, oh nah. But just because I realized this doesn't mean I outwardly accepted it, right? Obviously those people who were like close to me, like my friends at the time, if they realized the pattern of the girls that I liked, they'd be like, oh, you like them bigger. Like, obviously they can tell that I would like them bigger, or I do like them bigger. I didn't start to accept it until like high school. I'll say like high school. But high school is basically where I really started to accept that like I like big girls. Like, it's like, that's my preference. It's not that I wouldn't date any other girl or any other size, really, because I'm not the type of person to like worry about looks too much. But I'd say I'm most attractive to women with curves, women who are bigger. Like, that's just my thing. So yeah, this was just a video of me yapping about big women. Wow, so crazy, right? If it seemed like I was all over the place, it's because I don't want to make scripts for these type of videos. I just want to talk. Like, literally, that's what the channel is for, just to talk about shit. But yeah, for all my big girl lovers, for all my plus size enthusiasts, my chubby chasers, let me know what makes you attracted to big women. Like and subscribe if you want to hear me yap about more shit. I'm gonna have more videos on the way. I love talking about shit that I'm actually passionate about. If you don't recognize me, go peep the gaming channel where I play Marvel Rivals and any other game that I want to feel like playing. It'll be linked in my bio or linked in the description, whichever you want to find it at, but make sure you go check it out. And with that, I'm gonna see y'all in the next yap session. Peace.